4 p.m., so I'll go ahead and kick us off. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this special webinar presentation with Ron Martinez Looking Elk. My name is Taylor Hasbrook. I'm the Community Outreach Manager, and I will be assisting with moderation today alongside Rebecca Hammond, our American Indian Initiatives Manager. I will just start us off with a brief slideshow before we share the film this afternoon. I would like to take a moment to share our land acknowledgement. The Crow Canyon Archaeological Center acknowledges the Pueblo, Ute, Paiute, Dene, and Jicarilla Apache people on which traditional homelands this institution sits. Our mission-related work would not be possible without Indigenous peoples in the past, present, and future. We respectfully recognize and honor ancestral and descendant Indigenous communities for their contributions to all humankind. Crow Canyon is grateful to all Indigenous people and supports the preservation and protection of cultural traditions, ancestral connections, and sacred lands. We would like to share with you some new resources that are available on our website that can be found at www.crowcanyon.org. Our Indigenous Resources page has a variety of resources such as Indigenous organizations nationwide, access to Indigenous media such as podcasts and authors, and links to tribal homepages and official websites. We highly encourage you to visit our website to learn more about these resources. Also, we would like to take a minute to thank you for your continued support. Our programs, including this webinar series, wouldn't be possible without your generosity. We are so grateful for your support and kindness. I'm sure most of us are familiar with Zoom. I would just like to take a moment to cover some of the basics. We ask that you please add all of your questions to the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. If you add your questions to the chat, they run the risk of getting buried, and we want to make sure that we are able to answer most of the questions that arise during the webinar today. If you experience any difficulties on Zoom, you are welcome to head over to our Facebook page where we are live streaming this event at www.crowcanyon.org/Facebook. And if you've missed any of our past webinars, you can find them on our YouTube channel, where we will also be posting this afternoon's event as well. We host webinars every Thursday, so we want to take a moment to share with you our upcoming events. On Thursday, April 6th, we will be hosting Dr. Fumi Arakawa on the topic of Crow Canyon lithic analysis as part of our special 40th anniversary webinar events. The following week, we will be hosting Keely Toledo on the topic of pipelines and how water is life. You can learn more and register for these programs on our website. Without further ado, I will let Becky introduce Ron before we share our film this afternoon.
Thank you, Taylor. I just want to say a little something about Ron. In this special webinar presentation, join international award-winning artist and community activist Ron Martinez Looking Elk as he makes his exquisite return to the process of Pueblo Pottery creation. The first portion of this webinar will feature a memorable short film highlighting his pottery from conception to birth, while he discusses the connection of his identity and journey as a Pueblo artist. Filled with beautiful footage of this miraculous process and compelling discussion around culture, we accompany Ron as he reflects on his past expeditions and gently returns to a familiar space. The second half of the webinar allows you to engage with Ron directly through interactive questions and answer sessions with the audience. Here's a little bit more about Ron. Ron Martinez Looking Elk is a traditional potter from Isleta and Taos Pueblos in New Mexico. He is a graduate of the Institute of American Indian Arts and is an international award-winning artist. His expertise includes 25 years of community and leadership development, specializing in the area of building sustainable economic development in Indigenous communities globally. Ron has worked and trained with Indigenous artists, leaders, and organizers from many countries, including New Zealand, Japan, Greece, South Korea, Africa, Bolivia, Peru, and many tribes throughout the United States. Mr. Martinez Looking Elk is affiliated with the national and international networks where he worked or participated as a fellow. A few of these institutions include Americans for Indian Opportunity in Albuquerque, New Mexico, School of Advanced Research in Santa Fe, New Mexico, the Leadership Institute in Santa Fe, East-West Center in Honolulu, Hawaii, Academic for Educational Development, Washington, D.C., the Ford Foundation in New York, and the Aspen Institute in Aspen, Colorado. Ron is a trained facilitator and is currently a lead trainer in the First Peoples Fund, where he is also a board member. He also operates his own business named Creative Community Consultants. He works with high school students creating leadership development with organizations like the Brave Girls at Santa Fe Indian School, the Native American Community Academy, the Summer Policy Academy, and is the director of an arts-based program called Pueblo Arts Academy. He also represents over 300 Pueblo artists through his Pueblo Arts program at Isleta Resort and Casino. Ron also comes from a long family of artists of many generations, and he's just really amazing. I love it. Here you go, Ron.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody soon. I'm so excited about this video release. I've been working with Crow Canyon now for a couple decades, but just recently I'm looking forward to just establishing some deeper roots with the Crow Canyon Archaeological Site and Center, and the staff. They're amazing, but I'm really excited. I haven't seen this video yet myself, so I hope you all enjoy it, and we'll talk afterwards. Mopuyu van heremba that I hampahwe puyu huba yukium shutainen huba yukavem dedipachernenai. My name is Ron Martinez Looking Elk. I'm from Isleta. My mom's from Isleta. My dad's from Taos Pueblo. I just introduced myself. My Indian name is it's Bahwe Puyu, and it's a lake you can see in the mist. And I also introduced myself in my clans, Blue Corn Clan and Eagle, and my mom is a Parrot Clan. So I'm all of those things at one time. And my grandfather was a natural artist. Thank God, thank you, Grandpa. And it carries through in all my cousins and myself. And so I thought, okay, I come from these long line of painters, but I wasn't so good. And so I ended up taking a pottery class, a traditional pottery class, and I had no idea how that would change my life. Preston Dewaney, a Hopi artist, took me under his wing and showed me how to be a potter, and it never left me. As a matter of fact, this clay place that we're gonna be stopping to get the clay is the place he showed me. And I'm sorry, I'm so grateful for that. I always think of the things I took for granted in my lifetime, and especially in my art. Like, things have like downsized. And from the moment I picked up the clay to the first pot I ever made itself, I had no control, but it was in me. I'm a graduate of the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, and I graduated with the 2 and 3-dimensional art degree in '93. I'm just forever grateful to have the spirit of the Mother Earth and all of the gifts, because everything's tied to the water, the land. I've been to 30 countries in the world, many of them like New Zealand, like 18 times, doing leadership development with a lot of indigenous communities, but there's no place like home. I couldn't live it anywhere else, and it's because I'm tied to the land through my art. Like everybody has a place that they gather their clay, and sometimes it's really a family secret or a Pueblo secret where they gather their clay. It's a sacred site for us. Preston Duaney, the Hopi artist who I was talking about earlier, he showed me this source of clay that he used for the students at IAIA. I think it's because I learned it first, or that's where I was in touch with the mother first. There's no other source that I can use comfortably. It's just one of those things that you know. All the clay that you see around this area in the different striations in the cliffside, this was an ancient sea, so that's why the clay's here like this. And sometimes if you're not sure, all you do is lick it and you get to see that richness and the taste of the earth. But the most important thing for me, returning back to the clay and into my studio, is that my personal philosophy is really centered around who I am. And artists many generations ago that created the way our pueblos look. Because of those artists, and we don't consider them artists, they were just people in the community who made pottery, who did this, who made that, who you would go to gather certain things for yourself, for ceremony. They created who we are. And because of that, they created our culture. So I don't do anything that's not tied to art, culture, or identity, because those 3 core pieces for me are the very cornerstone of what my personal philosophy and mission is as a Pueblo person. So the next step in the process in clay making is adding the clay into the water. And this is such a special moment for me, because when the clay is added to the water, when the clay mother gave me the clay, I told her I was going to protect her and use her in a way that's respectful and nurture the new clay. So this new clay is being born right now. This process is really special because, like I said, its life begins, and I say a whole nother set of prayers, because these are going to become my babies. These are the little gifts that are going to be born from Abiquiu that were given to me to take care of. For me, this is such a wonderful moment, because not only am I the creator, the artist of the clay and the pottery, but I'm, in a lot of ways, its parent as well. I have to nurture and guide it through its life. And it's like it's taking its first breath. So when I say my prayers at this stage, it's not like a sacred ceremonial thing. I'm just offering a prayer to the Creator that in its life of the pottery, and while I'm making it, and its life after I fire it, that it takes on the beauty of Pueblo culture, but also acts as an ambassador for the people and myself as an artist. So really, I'm praying for its life. The ceremonial life begins when we fire it, but now its ordinary life, like our human life, is beginning now. Those little bits that we put in last are already dissolved in there. And this is what I love about it. Like, this breaks down, but this is all clay. This is how you tell clay in the field when you're out there and you're not sure. Because like if it's just dirt, it just turns into mud. But this clay has some tackiness to it. All these little bits that you'll see through the process, I don't waste it. They all go into a little pile here, and when I get a good amount, I'll add water to it. This is just the stage where if it was older Pueblo times with like Maria Martinez, they would dry it out in the sun on the canvas. I'm not that patient. So I have these plaster slabs. This is when it's born. This is in its infancy because it can't take any shape or form. It's still the earth. Because when I start to build a pot, which is in the next process, it's still soft, but I can build the walls with it. I have a turntable that helps me keep it balanced, but everything's built by coil method. Because I got it, the responsibility to take care of the clay from the clay mother, this becomes a relation to me, and so I have to nurture and help that grow. And so every part of its life is just as significant and honorable and blessed as each one of our human life. I think in arts in general, for me, traditional practices are very, very important because they keep alive the things and the emotions and the intention, the practicality, traditional forms of art, any kind of art, because it's not really an art form, it's who we are, what we do, how we use it. It's to maintain that indigenous philosophy of how we use things before plastic, before any store-bought things or anything. This is what we needed. This is what the function was about creating for the purpose of using. But it's the practicing that's important, because every day that we do that and we pass that on, that information, that's the legacy, and that's the most valuable aspect of what all of this means. This now has some form to create that structure, and like our little kids, you still have to guide them and nurture them and shape them. So this is where they're children. And so this is where it's going to tell me what it really, 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 really wants to be. I know what it is. I'm so emotional because you're a baby. I'm like weepy and like what is this? Like I'm sitting here asking her like always, like, even to take away some of the this achy thing, like absorb it so I can continue. And I was like feeling like I was gonna cry, and I was like, it's your baby. I'm trying to listen to what it wants to be, but it's a new being. And so your little guy he's projecting in a good way about this. It's funny because it's like, I want to be a football. I'm like, you're not a football. You know what I mean? In my mind, that's why I'm sitting here wait, what's happening here? I don't recognize you. This part of building the pot is very, very intentional and not precise, but it has force and strength. It's not a football. I know what it is supposed to be. I haven't been with the clay for 5 years, and it didn't stop making its presence known. You know what I mean? It's like I'm still following its lead. Now it's it's turning 10 or 12 right before its teen years, right? Because the next process is just me just touching it up, like trimming the edge, making sure what it really wants to be, what the edge looks like, and then letting it dry enough to harden so I can pull it out and manipulate it just a little bit more, and then it goes completely dry, and then I can start scraping it. Teenage years, rough, they're fighting you, they really don't have a direction, but in there somewhere there's a person. when it's at its final stages, ready to be fired, it has a presence because of its male quality. It's gonna domineer its little sisters. I'm gonna tell you, and you're gonna laugh because you would never see it, but it's a drum. This was a collaboration with the spirit of the clay, the mother, and the artist, and while I was waiting. The slip is the natural clay of usually the same clay source, but I like to get this slip from near Cochiti Dam. These are all polishing stones that I received as gifts. I even found some in the river. My intention is with this and any pot is to add at least 7 to 12 layers of the slip, because it has to soak into the wall of the pot enough to where when I'm polishing it, it doesn't dry out and it looks like I'm scratching it. The first go around, I always just be as gentle but as quick as I can, because if I don't get all the coverage, by the time we get to the top, you'll know, and then I have to start over. And basically, I wouldn't start over now. I would let this dry out again, re-sand it, and polish it after it's dry. But for me, perfection is that it survives, because like all the way from gathering the side of the freeway and all the little nuances of the pottery making process, that it survives at all is incredible, right? Especially the firing. You start your fire and it lights really quickly, that your aunties love you. So that's always a good indicator. Fire, because it's like attached to the sun, the heat, it's the grandfather. It's like the birthing process again, because I don't know if what's going to happen during the firing. That's why I pray to the fire, the grandfather here, to keep them protected so that they come out. Because this is orbiting through the fire, it's been tempered, it's not going to break. And I need to line the inside of the bucket. It's starting to warm up in there, so that's good. Pot that just gave me its life was a good pot. It just had an air bubble on the bottom, that's why it broke in the firing. This part of firing, I don't know if you remember earlier when I said, when I'm making the pottery and it's just quiet and there's no electricity on, it reminds me of my closest connection to my ancestors and the way, like what my great-great-great-grandmothers would be doing. This is another part of that process, because it's just me and the fire and the clay.
So I know that all of that was just a lot to process, but how are you feeling after not having done this for a long time?
I'm actually relieved, because I think that not having done this for a while, I still can do this. It's just things have changed, yeah. And then this one, it didn't want to be anything. It's just the one that became the drum. And so it didn't need to be polished or anything. It's just what it is, and I like it actually, that matte finish. I think I'm still learning, which is nice. Yeah, I think my next journey with my clay is gonna be, I don't know, this one just really speaks to me, even though it's so plain. I mean, like, but I think that's what I'm going through in my lifetime right now, is pulling back and minimizing and making things simple. I think maybe this is really a reflection of where I'm at now. To me, there's a major shift, and that comes from little friends and different symbols It almost reminds me of a fireplace that's well worn, that's, within the burn marks and everything, and it has that home sense where you're comforted and you're home. They become the ancestors. They talk about who we are, our culture, the evolution of traditional Pueblo pottery, their creator, their little ambassadors, about who I am, what they represent, what they mean. And this is a continuance of my cultural identity and hopefully the legacy piece for upcoming potters or maybe people in my community or family who want to continue on this process. It's not the style that belongs to a particular village or family or location. It's really about the emergence and the essence of what it means to be a creator. I mean, if you saw its evolution from gathering all the way till it's finished, it speaks volumes of time and community, thought, prayers. It's like waiting for that little baby to be born. And there comes a point where they're here. So yeah, it's that time of my life where I'm just gonna redirect and think about what's really important to me as an artist, as a community, not as an activist anymore, not as a leader, but what my legacy piece is gonna be, and how I'm gonna start to share this gift with community members so that they can continue it long, 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 long after I'm gone. Hopefully. That's the hope.
I loved it. I loved it. And did you love it, Ron?
I am so I hate watching myself or hearing myself, but I can't believe I was so weepy just sitting here still, even though I sat through the whole process. The girls, Laura and Taylor, did a beautiful job capturing the essence of why I do the work that I do, but also capturing something, that legacy piece for my family. So thank you very much, Crow Canyon.
Yeah. So there is a question. And what is your philosophy about handling disappointment when there's an air bubble in the pot breaks during filming?
So I learned from the very beginning at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Preston's class about loss. And all of my early pieces that have been damaged or there's an air pocket or something, I always gave them to my mom. And it's because like at that stage, they're like the very special people in our lives, like that have handicaps or keep them close to home. And no matter what the deformities or whatever there are, they're still part of the family, the process. And so those are my little kids still. And unless I need them for like to grind them up to put them back into the clay or use them in the fire, we keep them close to home. So loss for me is really about a learning experience, understanding of the process and having not to be a master, but to master the art of whatever it is we do.
Yeah, I guess I can, totally understand that because, during my era of going to IAIA, it was also, learning from Audrey Lolama, and I loved the fact because I've never done pottery, but it was able, I loved that the fact that they let you explore and figure out what you wanted to do. But then, we all know clay, just as you were just saying, clay has its own idea of what it wants to be. and so it's always, having to be okay with that and know, like, yeah, I really want you to be this beautiful mug. And it's like, no, that's not what I want, And so, it's just, that whole part of it. So, and the other same question from the same person is like, how do you take care of your hands when handling the clay, because it dries it out? What do you do?
The most important thing that I'm recognizing now is how many years have gone into these hands of being a potter, because now they're starting to get older and achy, and I can't open jars anymore from all the years of polishing. But to me, those are great, like, not battle scars, but I earned I earned that kind of thing. So that gentleness right now in my life is really about, I used to be able to make a full table, like 20, 30 pots in one night. Now, if I get the two under control, I'm happy. You saw I only had 3 pieces in the fire. There was a reason for that. Usually it'd be jam-packed full of pottery. So getting older, there's a definite uh, understanding about yourself and how you take care of yourself. So just taking care and being mindful of your body is really important, especially as an artist.
Yeah, and then somebody writes, beautiful. Can you tell us more about the water and her role?
Sure. So all of us and I mean, out of all the tribes, we're all related to the water, the earth, the plants, everything. They're brothers and sisters. In our cosmic universe, we're not the center of it, we're part of it. So we understand our role and relationship with the earth. And water, I mean, we all know it's just so precious and a part of life. But without her, that spirit of the water, things cannot begin or end in the process. A really Pueblo thought process and understanding of is, when we die, our bodies go into the earth. And part of our philosophy is that our spirit rises and brings rain and becomes the cloud people, brings rain and nurtures the earth so that the grass will grow, the plants will, grow strong, and the people and the animals will eat the plants of the earth. And it's part of that circle of life. And it's very, very evident, and really a huge part of who we are and our identity in the Pueblo culture, as well as other tribes. But for the potters, it's an essential part of the Earth Mother and her gift to us. So when we pray, we ask for guidance and her willingness to use the resources of the earth and everything she provides, so that we're doing good things with it and not like manipulating in a way that's like selling it is okay. It's not a problem. It's just like when you litter, and I find pieces of glass in the earth and stuff like that. It's those choices we make. It helps us find our core cultural values from an artistic point of view. And for me, those are really those core cultural values that help me as an artist in my work. So that water issue is so important that we protect it.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in that, somebody wrote down, so meaningful. I wrote down, for future guidance, perfection is that it survives. So
that's so important, because I love traditional arts, parfleche, bead work, any kind of like planes. I mean, that's my aesthetic. But Pueblo pottery is what I'm known for. And if you look at all the museum pieces from the turn of the century or further back, nothing's perfect. They didn't have master artists in the sense that these are museum quality, or they're going to the Herd Museum show or Soya, the Santa Fe Indian Market, and getting the best of show. Wonderful for every artist who achieves that level, but that's not my goal. My goal is to reproduce those things that helped my family and all my ancestors grow and create meaningful societies, that this gift of pottery isn't just for me as an artist so I can become famous and make money. It's so that I can contribute to my community.
Great, great. And there's a question like, when you collect the raw clay, do you break it up into powder and sift it?
No, because I like to actually, I love the way it comes out like big old chunks of rock. You can gather clay anywhere in New Mexico. There's some right off the side of the road. There's micaceous clay. There's some white clays. There's some really beautiful, beautiful red clays. It just depends. The reason I gather right there is because that's where I learned the process from Preston. And I could use clay from Isleta, but I know that clay source better. And I like to bring it home and let it dissolve in those buckets of water, because I like when it bubbles up and there's effervescence there and you smell it. And like I say, that's when its life really, really begins as one of my babies.
Great, great. Do you think about the hands of the potters that came before, even way back? Do you believe let me finish. Do you believe that those beautiful old pots still carry the energies of the makers?
Thank you so much for that question. One of the favorite things sometimes in the summertime, because you don't make pottery in the wintertime because the earth is resting. So in the summertime and the spring months all the way through the summer, you're making pottery. Sometimes in my studio when the lights are all off because the heat is hot and there's a coolness, a breeze going through because there's rain outside, I can imagine myself as my great grandmothers were sitting in their kitchen or wherever they were making their clay at the same moment, not of time, but in the same moment in that space within our heart as an artist and breath, the life that we give the clay. I can, it's like a time machine. And I see within my hands, my grandmother's hands. And also, we had some amazing male potters in Pueblo prehistory meaning before the conquistadors. So I want to honor all of those, that duality of the clay as it represents the medicine of what the clay can be, the form, and like the water that's held within that, or whatever, the cornmeal that's held within the clay. So all of that it's tied to ceremony, but very, very much tied to our ancestors. So in those moments, I'm connected to them. So that's a great question. Thank you.
I've got the next question for you, Ron. I saw that you had a Minoan priestess and sacred bull in your workshop. The intro also mentioned that you had worked with people in Greece. What did you learn, practice, or discover during that time?
So my favorite thing as I travel, I'm so blessed. I've been to many countries, and every time I go there, mostly through American Friend and Opportunity, and my traveling companions, the ambassadors, LaDonna Harris and Laura Harris, and just a lot of amazing community tribal leaders. We always go to the root of the culture. So it's a ancestral part or museum or a place of beauty where we connect with the land, especially in New Zealand with the Maori people, and finding those aspects of culture and identity through art is such it's a thread in my life. But seeing that Minoan in Crete and just being in that space and place that is so ancient but still alive and thriving through the people, we're all indigenous to this world. And so wherever I am, looking at pictures, the land, the food, the people, and seeing the ancestors through them, and that's how I connect. So looking at those old, beautiful Minoan things or whatever Tibetan things, or wherever I'm at in the world, I'm just connecting with the spirit of their ancestors. That's what fires me to bring that spirit home and reconnect and fire that energy that I have for my Pueblo cultural identity, to preserve that for future generations of artists and Pueblo peoples.
Great.
Absolutely. And I'll just go ahead and do one more just because this one came in on both Facebook and Zoom. So what is your favorite step in the pottery making process and why?
Oh my God, each one is such a wonderful stage of development. It reminds me of uh, me being a creator, but they're ambassadors to my family, my culture, myself. But my favorite part is when I'm polishing a pot. It's just the liquid clay itself and the transformation from a very, sanded, rough piece of clay to a very high polished quality piece of art. That transformation really makes me feel about sorry about my life and its transformation because the clay really changed it for me. That whole process of working with the clay, that's me polishing myself throughout my professional life and working with indigenous peoples, and I'm just so blessed. That one, just that transformation, I love it.
Nice. Let's see. How about I'll give one a try. I wonder what you see in terms of generations before the coming and after, and how you treat intergenerational connection in your work.
I just saw a wonderful documentary about women in the Paleolithic times. And it was wonderful because one of the things that they were talking about, and which is very, very important right now in these days, is how grandmothers were, the food that they were collecting very much resonated in the terms of how the growth of the youth were advancing through the teeth and all the stuff that they do now, but the correlation of intergenerational interactivity is so important, as well as in clay or any kind of traditional art forms, food especially. We're passing on indigenous knowledge and how we do things, and maybe ceremonially what they're for or how we use them to heal. And it's just so fascinating to me how indigenous thoughts, processes, and life ways still capture the essence of the true nature without too much science or education or processes like stores get involved, where you're still connected to the earth and its understandings and teachings, so that when you pass that on, that knowledge, it's esoteric in the sense that you ingest it, and not just in a physical way, but in a spiritual way. And when you're able to connect that with young people, man, their lives open up because they know their culture has given them a sense of who they are. And when you have that culture through the arts, it informs your identity, and nobody can take that away from you.
Great. And because you've traveled all over the world, and when you're seeing your experiences, do you ever have that communication with other potters all over the world? What are those experiences like?
It's not just potters. Any art form,
Any artist, yeah.
Any artist, because you see that moment that when they're sharing their process with you, it's not about the boxes that you tick off in order to make something. It's about the inspiration this comes from, and then especially when it's tied to culture and family, the heritage, the belief systems, and the understanding, the life ways, and it just becomes alive. When other Pueblo people look at my artwork and I'm not standing there and they recognize it or could read it, I've done my job, because they're connected, and I express what the mother wanted me to express. But also as an artist, because my grandfather a long time ago, when I graduated from IAIA, said, "Son, some of these images that you're using in your art aren't yours to give away," meaning I come from Pueblo culture where we have kachinas and other life things that I wasn't initiated into, so I can't use them. So I had to recreate my own mythology. And in that process, I created my style. But if I didn't understand that, I don't know what I would be doing. I think I would be more in terms of my art, it would be more superficial than it is meaningful. I don't make art to sell it. It's nice when I do, but I make it because I have to. It's part of who I am.
Yeah, and the next question is, it's kind of interesting because it says, can you imagine how the ancient people had the idea of making pottery and how they got started? But then it's also part of what your grandfather's saying that you don't own that, and knowing that responsibility of, what you can and can't make, but also what you've created now and the new process that you're actually working on your artwork right now, which, is amazing.
That's exciting for me because that brings me into the realm of a modern context, especially when I'm working with students, because my perfect example of that is there was a day in Mesa Verde way back when a woman potter was doing the traditional art form of making pottery to cook in and store things. But then one morning she came out and she presented a new piece of pottery to her community. And she goes, "Here you go." And they're like, "What the hell is that?" You know what I mean? Because there was new designs, there was new things that she dreamt of, but it has become our culture. Because there was a moment before that pot didn't exist, and there was a moment right after that that changed the evolution of future potters. But we're all at that stage, and that's so important to me because as an indigenous artist at this point in my life or in the world or our human existence, what are we doing to inspire the next generation of tribal artists or Pueblo artists? And how are they going to use that information to strengthen the community? Because this is the reason I do it. And that is a great example of in a modern context, because it's not living in two worlds, because LaDonna Harris, my mentor, said if we did that, the Indian world and white man's world, we'd be schizophrenic, which is true. We don't leave our core cultural values behind. But understanding my role as a traditional artist and a contemporary artist, and that mix and how we bring that together is so important. And to have a dialogue and understanding and future philosophies based on those understandings of what community is based on art and culture and identity, that's exciting to me. And that's exactly where I'm at.
It's great.
Thanks so much, Ron. How important is permanence? Does firing you use really vitrify the clay? And it's kind of a three-part question here. Have you considered collaboration and experimentation at higher temperatures?
So I'm going to take those backwards, answer them. When I was an intern at the East West Center in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I work with Raku artists, I was amazed by Raku art. It looks like lava. And I used my traditional firings there and got these amazing results. I couldn't use traditional clay because there's no clay on island. So I was using, clay bought from a store. But when I came home and tried to recreate those methods for my traditional clay, something really magical happened, and I turned all my pottery brown, like almost on the scope of the northern potters, Maria Martinez, and all of those northern potters that use smoke to enhance the quality and the colors. Dora Sepe of San Ildefonso is another one of my fairy godmothers, as well as Stella Loretto and Preston Duini. But higher temperatures and doing different things with the clay, it's just fun stuff. And you don't want to lose too much, because on the clay scale, our pottery's like not in terms of hierarchy, but our clay pots are here and porcelain's way up here. So if you start to fire things higher, a lot of breakage happens. You have to do a lot of tempering with. I use volcanic ash because it comes from the volcano, and it's already tempered. Some people use pot shards. I forgot the other parts of the question, but I have collaborated with Asian artists in Hawaii, and the result helped create my style of pottery here for me. It's just the look of it is very much a collaboration, not a Isleta Pueblo style, but Ron Martinez Looking Elk style.
Going off of that more of a logistic side of things, how long do you have to let the pots dry before firing them? And is there a preferred
Oh,
kind of wood that makes the fire hot to the right temperature?
so I love, love, love. So in the video, when they're at their teenage years is when I sand them, and then they're ready to be polished. They have to be very, very dry so I can sand them. Then I have to get them wet again in order for them to be polished. That's They could crack, or there's an air bubble, you find them. But the process when I make that, it's about 2 weeks between the dry stage and the polishing. Then I have to wait another. I would give it a week so that the clay dries out before I fire it. And um, I was lost my train of thought there.
The second part of the question was, is there a preferred kind of wood as well that makes
Oh,
the
yes.
fire
Okay.
hot to
Thank
the
you.
right temperature?
Thank you, Taylor. I love using cedar because it burns hot and quick and fast, and I like that popping sound. It just reminds me of my grandmother and the fire and the cooking stoves and the fireplaces and roasting chili. So I love using cedar, but I also use the inside of the cottonwood. So that ties me as a Isleta potter because we have a lot of cottonwood down here in the river, and I use the inside. It's like the bark of it. It's like paper, and what I do is I crumple it up, and you saw me in the video stuffing it into these foil like pockets I had, and I put them around the inside. So when I'm firing the pottery, they smoke, and whatever smoke touches the clay, that's what it turns the different colors, and I never know what's going to come out. So it's fun stuff. But I got that through working with raku artists.
Nice, nice. All right. What advice do you have for a senior citizen who wants to attempt pottery creation for the first time?
Oh my gosh. As I'm starting to get into my senior years, I'm slowing down, and it doesn't really matter what it is. But for clay, always start with something that's forgiving. Like if you went to Hobby Lobby and there's like modeling clay, or if you bought just like a brick of something from maybe a clay company, start off with that and start to understand shape and form, and don't worry about being perfect. Start to make little seed pots with your hands, and then if you're able to connect with a traditional potter, go out and there. I know all of us. There's a lot of us out there. I'm related to so many traditional potters and storytellers, the Toyas and Dorothy Trujillo from Coche de Pueblo, and all the Toya ladies that make storytellers. Those are my aunties. So I'm Kathleen Walls, my cousin. So we're always working and in clay, and we're always happy to show people. So find that person that you can connect with, even if it's not a traditional potter. There's a lot of clay potters out there who work on wheels. Just get your hands in there, and just because the clay, it speaks for itself. And when you really connect, there's a very special connection that whatever comes out, it's beautiful. Like somebody made this. And I'm very appreciative because it's my favorite cup. I could never do something like this because I make, pots.
Yeah.
So whatever you do as an artist, just get out there and enjoy. And because art is part of the life, it's not, there's no word for art in Pueblo or native cultures because it wasn't a museum artistic hobby form. It's what we use for our life. And whatever inspires you to create, people are going to enjoy it. Somebody will love it.
Nice. Speaking of that, it's like, do your hands inform the clay? What should it do? Or does the clay inform your hands what it wants to be?
So many, many times I learned early on, my first pot, it made itself. And it's because the clay mother was alive. Her spirit was there. So now when I work with the clay, I just turn myself over to her spirit and the spirit of my ancestors who were potters, and I say, what is it going to be? Because these are I have small hands for a guy, but they're very, very flexible when it comes to my clay. And I feel the spirit within the walls. I never know what it's going to be. I have an idea, maybe based on the puki, which is the little base that I put the clay in, whether how big it is or thin it is or tiny it is, that's kind of going to be the size of it, but I never really know. And some of my best pieces have come out because I let the clay mother take over. And I'm always listening to my surroundings or the clouds as they're rolling through and the thunder or the kids playing or the whatever's happening. I allow it to, like crazy Laura's little baby in her was when I was working. He was there with us, and I didn't realize he was influencing my my process, and I was so grateful for that because the spirit was reaching out. His spirit was reaching out to the clay through the clay, and so just that these are little antennas, and they're just feeling the spirit of whatever medium or we should all be working in. Everybody should be an artist.
Do you have one more question, Taylor?
No, I just wanted to take a moment to thank Ron and say that if you had an opportunity to go through the chat during this, you've just been getting so much positive feedback, thanking you for allowing us into your life and sharing this pottery making process with us. It was truly an honor to allow us to be there and be able to share this with our audience.
Well, thank
Awesome,
you.
Ron. You know,
Thank
and
you,
Ron,
everybody. I appreciate that. And is in August, and come over to the house and eat. You're always welcome, any one of you, whenever you are. Or if you're in Pueblo country, that cultural tourism is the most important thing to me. I hope all of you get a chance to come enjoy the food, the chili. Please reach out. This is my life work, and I'm a little heads up, I'm going to be starting another chapter of my life with Crow Canyon. Not quite sure what my title is going to be, but I'm going to be connected deeply with my cultural roots there, and the amazing, fabulous staff, and Becky, we go back a long ways, and Liz, the executive director there. I'm just so grateful to all of you for giving me this opportunity to reach out, but also to add a portion of what's so important of my legacy to my family and community. Thank you very much. Whatever you all pray for and ask for your family, for your community, may come back to you in abundance.
could you show us a little sneak peek of what you're doing now?
So I am. Thank you, Greg. So
just show it. Just show
for
it.
many years, I've been working and understanding. This is paper mache. This is a new medium for me. But these are my feathered serpent series, and I'm going to be working with this being, this very, very special being, for the rest of my life. But they've been coming for the last 20 years. Here's a drawing of kind of where I'm at with it, but they're all related to Pueblo culture, identity, water, the twin war gods, very, very sacred beings. And I'm trying to find a way to present them to the world that doesn't, where I'm not giving esoteric knowledge away, but they need to be shared. And this is my new thing I'm working on. I don't even know what to call it because it's so new, and she is.
It's amazing, Ron, and I can't wait to see what's going to come of the artwork, and we're so excited. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, we're very excited to see how our paths cross.
Listen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ron, and thank you to Laura as well. She's behind the scenes right now, but a big thank you to Laura for making the film possible, and thanks to Ron for allowing us into his life for this. And we really hope to see you guys at future presentations, and we're really excited to work with Ron into the future as well.
Aloha, everybody.
Aloha.